Hello and welcome, as today's date comes in that of Sunday, the 10th day of November 2019. Like always, all bets, trades of the like, well, that's within each's own risk and their own reward. For myself, risk reward management is always job number one. We got this high. We really have both of these highs in here. Definitely this high, and well, there was this one, and then there was, I don't know about that one, and then there was this one. Well, now we can start talking about new highs again. We'll talk about that in a bit. But highs and lows are known after the fact. So you could have been saying back in here, well, maybe this is the high, and it took a long time to break it out. For this high was made or established in the middle of 2016, and it was unable to break above it until the end of that year. So it took 6 months to do all of this, and then at some point, one of these highs was ultimately going to be that, and it was this one. Lows are known after the fact, and well, within this, it has already had a spectacular rally in here. Now you could say this is a key low. As it goes, this high, it hasn't been that long of an amount of time. June, pretty much the same time frame as this was. You can see here, June 15th. And this says June, I pretty much run the exact same period. This is in year 2016, so 3 years ago. Bitcoin prices, and before then, they were, that's interesting actually, June 2016 right in here. This is really interesting because we have, in this time frame here, price action coming to a, obvious. Oh, I hate when they do that. Anyway, it was coming from a situation that's exactly the same as it is now. That is, we had a big high, we had a big low, and we had a big correction. And now we've had a run-up of a good nature. In this case, this looks like a 61.8, 1170. I know that low's about 150 or so. Yep, we'll go 175, I think will be just whatever number. And 1150. $61.8 was 560. Yeah, I guess if I increase this level to here, but close to the 61.8, not quite. Where today, it's pretty much a lot of the same thing. We have the high from a bigger uptrend before it, the higher low of a good price move down, a very good correction, a top in the middle of June, and then a lot of this decent amount of time. It wasn't until, of course, December of that year until it broke it out. And then it took a while after that to break past previous high. But then it took a lot longer to do this back then than it is doing so now, meaning faster on today's realm. I normally don't look at these with a lot of periods. I'm more of a short period person as I talk about. I like to look at just a few. I like this, and then I can actually read candle by candle situation analysis, because when I'm looking at a lot of stuff, it's just easy to do like the monthly chart and figure it out from that point, and maybe even the weekly, stuff like that. But as far as the daily chart is concerned, we can pretty much see, and we're going to see it more clearly on the shorter term, what looks like a failed breakdown here. Well, it was. We've already looked at that before. In fact, sorry about that. I was thinking of, we're going to see one in here, a failed breakdown at this stage. But it had that failed breakdown. It's been correcting through time. We've not really corrected this area here. If it goes down here, that's an important hold area. It doesn't have to come down there. It may even be favored, but that's the thing. It's not a 0% or a 100% likelihood that we're going to test that level. But when we take a look at it this way, this is what I'm saying looks like a failed breakdown, and the shorter term time frame analysis will tell us such. Right in here. It can still resist this area and go down, and that's the case of breaking key support, having a small move but a noticeable move back to where you came from, which is now I'm looking for support to act as resistance. Is it doing so? We'll see. But the early indications to me state that probably there's a better chance of, well, it'd be interesting if it's a failed breakdown, because we already have this one in here, so you have a smaller one within a larger one, basically. Let's take a look at the single hour term. So again, we're looking at short candles, or long, or a lot of candles. Long candles, I guess. Anyway, this is a major level of support. The lowest area was right here, which you can see didn't even resist it, albeit close. However, on its exact first resistance opportunity, at least via the single hour, there was absolutely none whatsoever. It even supported this level right here on the 4 o'clock timestamp, which would have been 2 days ago. And bouncing around in here, again, going down there 9 a.m. on Friday, and leaving it 10 a.m. today. So 2 consecutive days, resisting near 88.80, supporting mainly 87.27, and then it supported after that 87.53, and the liftoff support came from 87.92. But there was no resistance here, and it went where did we see this price go up to? Well, it went up to 91 1/3, which just happens to represent, yeah, I mean, totally in the realm of where we came from. So how much resistance was being played within it? Well, 4-minute time frame, and I'm looking at this for the first time, so I'm curious to see within 1 minute how fast this was. No, I don't have the most resistance. It might have been 7 or 5 seconds, but no, there was absolutely no resistance. And I talk about how fast of a move you can have over a cup of coffee, and I mean making the coffee, like literally taking it off of the coffee pot, putting in your cup, putting whatever stuff you put in it, and that's the amount that's longer than the move. I mean, that takes longer. I mean, so you can't even enjoy drinking your cup of coffee. It's like you want your coffee and you want to drink it too. I guess I never heard it that way. It's like you want your cake and eat it too. I like that one as well too. Anyway, what have we done from the move? Well, it's been majorly going sideways with monstrous volatility. Sarcastically speaking, there isn't much. 90-30 and 90-65, a 1/3% range, 1/3 of 1% at 12:27. Right now it's 15:40, so 3 hours and 10 minutes. It has just put you to sleep kind of movement. But we'll see how this works out. We know now if we break above this level of resistance, we'll probably have a fast move or a concise move to 91.40. If we break down this level of support, we got the originally established one at 89.88. And of course, this 89.17 area, all the way down to its congestion points in here, would be, well, I mentioned the must-hold support within the daily time frame. It's the same analysis here. Daily time frame, the must-hold areas like this 83. Okay. We can see in here, its must-hold area would be around 88.88. Just has to hold this area, but it's the exact same pattern. We're seeing one smaller one within the grander scheme of things. And in conclusion, within the monthly term, it's been a long wait. We'll take a look at the comparison of how it worked in 2016, because where's July of 2016? Right here. Back then, price action, we can see got above the 18 average of highs. It came down to, or above it, came down the highs and then managed to really just stay a little bit above it. A little bit different this time as it's staying within it, but for the most part, very similar pattern. And as it goes within it, we got all of this movement in here. This is 4 lower volatile periods. We're hung in there a lot of time, less than 4 months of you having to endure these kinds of prices. Or buy at those, sell at those, do what you need to do, hold, hodl as they state. Well, now we're doing the same thing, except for we're on period number, 4 completed ones. We're in period 5. This, and this. Not the greatest of volatility. Most certainly not feeling that much of the empty space from this low to this high. Thus, all it has came down to is this 18 highs, and well, we're now in period number 3 within it now. And if it starts to come up, we've got definitely a downtrend in here. We've had the endurance of time, just like in here. You had over like a third of a, like a good portion, or a notice, whatever, decent portion of a year, another decent portion of a year of these style of prices. So the style today has been a little over 10,000, a little under 10,000. That's pretty much been as it is. The first half of it was on the upper end. The last half of it, where we're on now, has been in the lower end. But when you see it back in that upper end again, 10,008, 10,009, what will be happening in here is the excitation on the 18 in here, leaving it on this, and that's a very, very bullish statement. Because, like I've mentioned this many times, you talk about the 18 lows, the 18 highs in here. It never resisted those points. And then after that, it had a good move from the highs to where, well, we've been resisting it. So instead of resisting where we're supposed to, it's supporting this one in here. And when that happens, and you leave it like this, well, I would be given the benefit of the doubt that there's not only a high probable chance that you would retest 20,000, which looks like a nothing move from here, and it kind of is a nothing move. And to get to 20,000, you have to double, but doubling in cryptos and Bitcoin, I mean, I'd like to say that's child's play, but child's play is a term for it's so easy that a child could do it, but it's toddler's play. The children are pretty damn smart who can do good things, meaning it's nothing. It's so easy to do something like have these types of moves is another way of putting it. Or another way of putting it is, I think the probabilities are much higher. You'd have a significant lag there after the fact. You can see in here, when it came up to this point, this is where it really didn't resist it. Just a little bit of this sideways movement like here. And it was only like 3 periods and then concise, fast move to a key level. And a key level above here, you gotta think it'd be somewhere at least around here. 120, eighth of a million to a fifth of a million, 120 or a quarter, 125 to 250. Okay, we'll see if that happens, but that to me is, I'm looking at something like a number up, like a price up here. That's like a failed breakout level, 40,000. If it breaks 20,000, goes up to 40, starts to come back down to 20, well, that tells me they're coming back to where we came from for support, or we're having a failed breakout situation. Of course, we'll see what happens when we get there, but my analysis would be from this high, and everything that it's doing, that at least this is, even like in like 70, 65,000 would be the conservative level you would think for where a next high would come into play. Concluding this within Bitcoin dominance, and despite Bitcoin having a big day today, it's still stuck well below the 18 average of lows in here. This line represents previous low from September, as it's been having an uptrend. And, well, what we see is that it resisted this, came back down. We've had a failed breakout now. Question is, will we have a fast move in the opposite direction? For me to see a fast move, I need to see this at least come down, or a concise move, maybe the best term. 67 low would be like a decent leg lower from this point, and it looks like that's the direction that it's heading on the single hour term time frame. This was the Bitcoin rally in here. So another attempt in reverting this trend. We can see this failed breakout had a fast, concise, and a very big one in the opposite direction after the fact. Definitely, there were a couple of them in here, but you see it with the 18. It gets above it clearly like that. Now it has to correct within it. It corrected successfully here, but not the second time, because after the correction, now is your attempt to break that previous level. So there's your ultimate failed move right there. But both of them collectively, all of them are. And then when you broke down below the support, well, they're big move. And like I state, when you have a situation like that, how enthusiastic are you having support at these previous 2 levels which you came from? In this case, it didn't do much at all. And then from the break of that support, well, we've resisted halfway or close to halfway from the range of like, we're halfway up to like 70 or 69 rather. So we'll see how this one works out, because this is attempt number 3, at least since this high in here, because this is a little bit of a failed move in here. So we've had 1, then this high is 2. We'll count this as 3. We'll have like 4 lower highs. We could be seeing a 5th. Overall, this is within the Bitcoin dominance, very low volatility and the grand scheme of things. But breaking down below the support, you know, that's the same old thing. Probably good move lower. Whether it be a big move, a small one, or a moderate one, I don't know. It's almost, I'll go to that joke again. What happens if you crossbreed an elephant and a rhino, and elephino. An elephino. That's a good way of putting that. We'll finish this off within gold against Bitcoin. And right now the ratio is 6.19. You need about 6 1/5 ounces of gold to get that of 1 Bitcoin. And you may need more if this thing ends up breaking out above that level of resistance. And in the monthly time frame, obviously Bitcoin has been surging, just like it is against the dollar, because it really doesn't matter what it's priced in. When again, 100% move is like, really, that's like, it's not even child's play, as I was thinking like that. I mean, 200%, 225% moves, that's child's play. At least that's how I look at it. Thank you for tuning in. Have yourself a great day. Bye-bye.